I've dealt with mental health issues my whole life, but I didn't really have terms to what I was going through. I just knew there was periods of time where I would fall into deep depression. I dealt with anxiety and a lot of limiting beliefs and things like that, but I just lived with it. Also, mental health is not something that's very talked about. Like in my culture, mostly I feel like in society now it's like more pop, like more people see it as an issue. This is just my personal opinion. I feel like when you tell somebody, ow, I hurt my leg, I feel like with certain people they're more likely to see that as an issue than you tell them, oh, I deal with this mental thing. When to me, the mental, I feel like matters so much more. When you are dealing with stuff in your mind, you're like debilitated in your mind. Sometimes you don't want to get out of bed. You don't want to take a shower. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to leave the house. You just don't want to function. So for me, this is my like mental health guide based on what I've gone through. I hope it can help other people, women and things out there. Maybe even an aunt who deals with mental health will find this video and find it helpful. First thing that really helps me when it comes to basically overcoming my mind and being above thought for at least most of the day, because we can't all be perfect. Sometimes we're gonna dip down to that, like mental health. But the goal is to just, like with all things, I strive to be at least 80%, there. Then to me, I've succeeded. So the first step that helped me get there is to start meditating. I avoided this for so long because I was like, I don't get this. Like I'm gonna sit somewhere for a certain amount of time and try to not think. Like I don't like at the time I thought like that doesn't seem quite possible because I thought I was the mind. I thought that like thoughts were everything. That was me. I didn't realize there was a separation. So it wasn't until I started doing random meditation, I would just force myself to just sit there and thoughts would come, but I would listen to something where that person would guide me. It was more like guided meditation, and they would kind of tell me to like picture my thoughts as like something in a cloud going past, and I was like, all right, I'll try this out and see what happens. And I kept doing that, and eventually like it started to open up my consciousness. I started to find other things where people would talk about thoughts and how they weren't like I found Eckhart Tolle. He started talking about how like you are not your thoughts and things like that. And so the more I started meditating and doing that, it's like it opened up to the possibility that wow, all those things in my head are not necessarily true. But I couldn't, even with all of those resources, I still dealt with the mental stuff when something like, especially when something like would happen in my life. I just, I would start thinking like, oh, I don't know how I can do this. And then that victim mentality would start, like, there we go. The thoughts would start coming in, the victim mentality, oh, I can't do this. I mean, I don't know, like, I can't, oh, I'm all alone. I don't know if I can. It's like I would then start like it almost seemed like I could make a dance out of this. Like you're standing upright, right? Like and you're perfectly fine. All of a sudden, I don't think I can do this. I've never seen anybody. I can't. I don't think I can live here. Oh my god. My mind. It literally just took over like a fucking disease. Like it would, every single time when I think back now, it's like, it would be that one single thought that would penetrate. It would come right then. And then, because the law of attraction, I would start pulling more with the same vibration, until I thought, I don't think I can do this anymore. I don't think I can take this anymore. Like that's how it was. For months on end, I was just like, I don't know what to do. And so like some out of nowhere, it's like the knowledge I was getting from those people telling me that this is not who I am. These thoughts are not who I am. Eventually, it started to soak in. And because of the meditation, I started to be more awakened, right? So then I would have moments and bursts, like out of the mess, it was like a little tiny little plant would sprout. And I would just be like, randomly out of nowhere, I think to myself, wait, why did you say that to me? The voice was like, well, I've always said this, you never questioned it. That happened, I was baking one time and that happened. I was in the mess of it, but because of the meditation and the resources I've been listening to and reading, that little tiny little plant sprouted out of the mud. So that set the tone. But then I would dip back into hell, the thought and all that stuff. But then every little time something would sprout, I would like awaken because of the meditation. I would question it. And I kept doing that until more and more greenery was sprouting out of what appeared to be just mess and nothingness, right? And then eventually, right, as I was doing that more and more and more, I was starting to gain more authority over my mind. And then I read this book. It's it's by Dale Carnegie. The title is How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. Oh my God, this book, man, I swear to God, this book changed. I mean, there was already a foundation there, but it literally took it to another level. But when I was listening to that book, I thought, this is just another book. This is just more information. Okay, I hear what he's telling me that, every day is like a new life for a man. Every day is like a new life. Don't worry about the things that may happen. Just live in the moment. I was like, okay, but shit's still coming. I still have life to deal with. But once again, the information soaked in and was doing the work in the background without me realizing it. See, when you read certain things, you learn certain things, sometimes in a moment, you don't know the impact it's gonna have for you in the future. I said, okay, I don't know how this shit's gonna work, but I will try to be more present. And then as time went on, I started to realize, okay, as Dale Carnegie was telling me, what's the worst that could happen? Think about the worst outcome to this problem that you're having. And then when you think about it, it literally, when he said, picture the worst possible outcome to this thing that you're worried about. I thought to myself, no, I don't want to picture the worst outcome because it's going to freak me out even more. But I was like, all right, I'm going to try to do this. But I didn't realize how much this would work in my life. When I would experience something, I said, I'm just going to try to live in the moment. And the worst case scenario that could happen in this case is that happened, and then that happened. And I would just say that to myself. And then it made me feel less worried. It made me feel okay. It just made me feel like, well, if that's the worst case, it'd be fine. At the end of the day, I would still live, right? And it's such a simple thing. But it changed a lot, because anytime I'd be worried about something, I'd just be like, well, worst case scenario that happens with this is this and this and that and that. And would it suck? Sure. But would I still live? Yeah, I would still live. It blew my mind. That just that simple thing. It almost felt like it's like I didn't need the negative thoughts to come in, because I already settled it. I already settled it. like it's like the thoughts would come in to kind of tell me the possibilities that would happen in this situation. But because I just in that moment I thought, oh, this is the worst case scenario, and I let it go. It's almost like, well, she took my job away. The negative thoughts was like, well, she took my job away. I don't need to come in and say bullshit to her. She already thought about the worst case scenario and she's okay with it. It's so fucking crazy. Like, that's the biggest thing that stopped the negative thoughts from coming. Meditation, reading information about, like, the resources I find, I didn't even look for. I would just be going about my day. And it's like, because I was so like into self-improvement, I would find books about different things. And I didn't need to do a big thing after I read it. It just soaked in. And then when I needed that piece of information, it came up. So then the biggest piece of information I took from, the stuff I heard from Eckhart Tolle and the things I read from Dale Carnegie was just living in the moment. And I realized anytime I would have like anxiety, is because I was trying to project I was trying to imagine what would happen in a future that didn't exist, because the now is the only thing that exists. And so when I did that, it would cause me anxiety on the inside. And I would deal with depression when I would be stuck in the past that's just in my head. So now I got to the point where literally I'm just living in the moment. And if I have something that comes up, I think to myself, what's the worst case scenario? Oh, worst case scenario, this happens and that happens and that happens. All right, would you still live if that happens? Yes. I mean, it would suck, but I'd still live. All right, then let it go. Let it go. Because you cannot solve a problem, okay, that doesn't even freaking exist. All you're gonna do is go down the rabbit hole of possibilities. And because our mind is a tool to manifest, you may end up manifesting certain things for yourself if you continuously repeat that. And then now you have proof for the shit that you thought would happen. It's just literally this rabbit hole of shitness. But if you realize that all you have is this present moment and there's nothing to worry about, if something comes up, worst case scenario. And then you might think to yourself, well, what if I do die? Because I know that I'm a spiritual being, having a spiritual experience, my soul is eternal. I would just go on to continue learning in the school of life somewhere else in another reality. So then what the hell do I have to worry about then? Nothing. And then if I start getting anxious, I think I realized to myself, oh, hey, Magnolia, you're trying to be in this future in your head. Come back to the present. Come back. Touch yourself. Touch something. Touch yourself. No. Touch something that, and describe it. What does this feel like? What does this paper feel like? Oh my God. Okay. Oh, the texture. It's like, it's moldable, but it's structured at the same time. All right. Like, what are you grateful for? What are you grateful for? I'm grateful for this chair. I'm grateful for this moment. I'm grateful for my phone. I'm filming and I'm grateful for this microphone. I'm grateful for my voice. I'm grateful that I'm not the little mermaid and that Ursula, whatever her name is, did not take my voice because she loved it and she wanted it first. Where am I going with this? I'm grateful for my voice box. I'm grateful for my teeth, my tongue. I'm grateful for God. Then I would just, now I'm rooted in the present moment. And if I find myself going back in this mental picture of what the past looked like in my head, and basically being in the past and being depressed, I would think to myself, hey, same thing. Come back to the present moment. Touch something, feel something, taste something, hear something, move, be in your body. Be grateful for this moment. There was a past version of you that wanted to be in this exact moment. Cherish it while it's here. Okay, this present moment is all you have. You don't have to terminate yourself. Okay? Be grateful for what you have. Someone else doesn't have it. When I realized that, I realized I'm actually rich. I'm actually rich. I come from a country where if people are grateful just to have a job. They would think to themselves, if they found out like that in America you get to go somewhere and get paid for your time, they'd be like, what? You mean to tell me? You mean to tell me you don't have to go and get merchandise and go out on the streets and try to sell a bag of peanuts to make a couple bucks? And I would tell them, no, you literally can go apply somewhere and you get paid to show up and do that job. What? So you are rich. You are rich. And I would be like, no, that's not rich. It's working 9 to 5. You know, people complain about that. What? In my country, do you not know what we have to deal with? That's how that person would be. And then if I told them, oh yes, we have running water as well. Yeah, it turns hot, it turns cold. Yes, we have AC. The fridge is always running. What? In my country, we have to carry a bucket of water to shower. We do AC? We don't have to. You fan yourself. Oh, in a fridge that just stays on all day. You're rich. That's what people in my country would say if they knew the life I live. And the more I realized there's no need for this mental conflict. There's no need for it. I'm blessed to have this life. No matter what is it that tries to come my way, worst case scenario, I would still live. And guess what? I can't solve anything because it hasn't come and it may not even come. So what the hell is it that I got to worry about? That is how I got to the point where now, instead of wanting to completely terminate myself off the earth, like most of the time, my mental voice is just hyping me up and telling me all the good things. It took little steps, started with just meditating, but this is how I got here. I hope this helps you. And if you got any tips too, I would love to know. Anyways, peace out.